The original Lilo and Stitch is an extremely unusual film. It's a very, very personal film. I came up with the idea, I pitched the concept to Tom Schumacher, the head of feature animation, and he said yes to the idea on the condition that it looked like I drew it. Because to pitch the project, I made basically a children's book. It was an illustrated pitch, and my concern at the time, there were a lot of alien movies that were coming out. And I wanted people to see the alien in my film the right way, because he was a very unusual creature. So I thought, I'll illustrate the pitch. If they don't like it, I'll know they didn't like my pitch, and they weren't seeing something else in their heads. So when Tom said, I will make this movie on one condition, that it looked like you drew it, he was saying that because of the pitch book that I created. So I ended up voicing the character, designing the characters, writing the script with Dean DeBlois, my co-director, and pitching the project. So it is an unusually personal project.
You look great. Thank you. Hello. Aloha. So,
to be in a film like Lilo and Stitch, so close to my heart, and to do it in my hometown, is just everything. It just makes me so happy to be here right now to represent my upbringing and everything I love about the islands. And it's quite something to have been a part of the original film, the animated feature, 21 years ago. How is that even possible? When I heard that they were going to be doing Lilo and Stitch, I thought, I have to be a part of this, just for the legacy and the curiosity of seeing how they're going to translate such a much beloved animated feature into a live action world.
It feels very special to be able to tell a Native Hawaiian story from a Native Hawaiian perspective. That I know it's very important to a lot of people. It's certainly important to me, and that was not lost on me when writing. You know, wanted to do everyone justice, but it's honestly more than anything. It's just an honor.
First of all, the animated film is a classic, and you know, I was blown away when I first saw it. It didn't look like other Disney movies at the time, and it still is pretty unusual for a animated Disney movie. It's not, you know, there's no princesses. It takes place in a contemporary setting in Hawaii. Most of the characters are just normal humans going about and striving for happiness. And so I felt like that made it a really perfect film to try to make a live action adaptation, because there's so much more opportunity in terms of digging into the emotional realities of those human characters and grounding it in a lived experience.
We're shooting here in Hawaii because we wanted the movie to feel authentic, because we wanted to capture this place. And one of the first things Dean said was, he's like, we've seen the tourist version on camera many, many times of Hawaii. That's sort of, it's the postcard version. And he would sort of say, I want to see what happens if you flip the postcard around, if you were looking the other direction. What does that Hawaii look like? We haven't seen that before. And I think to the people on the island, this movie was hugely important. So we have to honor that, and it's a culture that goes back for hundreds and hundreds of years. There's such deep tradition, and it's such a rich culture that you have to figure out, how do we honor that in the right way? So not only was that bringing on a screenwriter who was Hawaiian, in Chris Bright, but also our consultants, you know, and there was an extensive consultant team on this movie too, people on the island who had different specialties too. There's people who specialize in Hawaiian language. There's people who specialize in Hawaiian culture, even Hawaiian food. How do you make sure that everything we're doing feels authentic, that it doesn't feel, again, like the tourist version of the movie? I think that's what we wanted to really avoid with this film, because it is a really special place to be making a movie. And, you know, again, if we're going to do it in live action, let's make sure we get it right.
Hi, I'm here with Maya, who plays Lilo. Can you tell me what your name is?
Maya.
Maya, how are you doing today?
Good.
Dang. That's awesome.
I think that Maya embodies LILO in a bunch of different ways. Like, she really learned how to channel her imagination through the tools at an actor's disposal, and she, over the course of our film, I think went from being like a very charming kid and very precocious and smart to being like, honestly, one of the better actors I've ever worked with. There's a number of times where I was like blown away by her performance, which was not something that we had rehearsed or worked on. Like, it was something she brought to the role, totally separate from me, which you really don't see with a lot of child actors.
When I hear working, it makes me so happy. Like, it makes my heart get very happy. So every time when I'm working, and then I only do work for like one film for one day, I usually get a little bit sad because I want to work some more.
So you're gonna pull it. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
No,
Look what you did.
You little rascal. Okay, cool.
I think that Sydney embodies Nani in a number of really great ways.
Sydney is like very sweet and kind. And then every time I see her, I usually hug her before she's about to eat. I want to give her some good luck for her food. And then when I usually work with her, she makes me very happy.
Peekaboo.
Instantly, she was just this little spunky, adorable child that she was so friendly and open to wanting to just imagine and create. There was like an instant sense of like trust and sisterhood and love. And I think like they could see it because we felt it.
Maya has not become LILO. Maya is LILO. She has that fire within her. When you just meet her, I mean, without any direction, they have looked far and wide for the character of LILO. And so to find somebody like Maya, she's truly a gift because she is the character.
I think really what Dean was looking for, he's like, we're not looking for an actor to play LILO. We're looking for LILO. We just need somebody who embodies that spirit in every way. And she would come in and she would say the funniest things, and she kept telling me I was an actor and what have I been in, and she would just sort of talk back to Dean sometimes in the casting sessions and make jokes, and like, oh, she's completely fearless. She's so fun. She's got this effervescent smile. She's really strong-willed. Her mother will tell you that very quickly. But she had all of that, and we'd give her a maquette or we'd give her a stuffy and say, just pretend this is Stitch, and she could go for 10 minutes showing him around her room, the sort of fake set we built for the auditions. And then we sort of got to that point where like, I think it's her, and we actually sort of put her through the paces for this very long casting session, because a lot of times you do 5 or 10 minutes with an actor and then that's sort of it for the read through. And when we did it for 2 hours, whatever it was, she never lost focus. She never lost her energy level. She has a boundless energy. And we sort of just knew this is the person that not only creatively is right for the movie, but can actually sustain how hard it is to shoot a movie like this, which I think people forget about. Coming to work every day for a 60+ day shoot and shooting on almost every day, because she's in almost every scene, it's a lot. It's a lot for anyone. And again, for a 6-year-old, it's incredible what she's done on this film.
And go, Yuri. Background. And background. See, not yet. Go, see.
So with Sydney, she actually is an older sister, and she just has this innate sisterly quality that you knew you needed in Nani. This is somebody who feels like they're wearing the weight of the world, and Sydney, I think, has had that responsibility. She's looked after her sister at different times in her life, and the second we put her together with Maya, there was that instant chemistry. There was the sort of precociousness of Maya, and there was Sydney, who felt like I can sort of help her, I can sort of, guide her a little bit in this journey of making this movie, and really took her under the wing exactly as Nani would have.
Stay here. She's basically a single mom at this point in time, and she's 18. She's just starting to get into trying to get the groove with, not only being a new adult, but having lost her parents, trying to deal with the grief, and also raising LILO, who's a 6-year-old, and keeping the spirit alive like it never happened. And so she's hot-headed, she is type A, she's a go-getter, and nothing's gonna stop her from, what goes on. And obviously, a lot happens throughout the movie.
Playing that dopiness as not as being dumb, you know what I mean? I feel like a lot of the times, people might mistake David of being dumb in a sense. He just has this overly positive attitude, which I think people might abuse and misinterpret, right? As opposed to Nani, when I think about her character, it's loving, but it's loving internally, right? Or it's a very focused kind of loving, and this idea of protectorship is very internal. And that's where I think our characters sometimes may clash, but they don't clash, right? They're very symbiotic with each other. I also have this idea that Nani is like the ocean, the raging ocean. Sometimes it's serene. At this in the beginning of the movie, it's very turbulent and very tumultuous, right? And then David is the Aina. It's the land that the ocean leans upon.
LILO, how's it going?
Look, David, I got a dog.
Oh, you should have a dog.
Yeah.
So I am playing a completely different character. Mrs. Keikoa is a social worker, works for social services. She is trying to steer Nani in the right direction, give her helpful hints, and hold her accountable when she's screwing up, because otherwise Cobra Bubbles and the system is going to take LILO away from her. So back in the day, I would be like, LILO, you Lolo, do you want social services to take her away? But this time I am the bad guy in a way. But the way I look at Mrs. Keiko is that she's not a bad guy. She's not, holding her feet to the fire. She's holding her accountable because she knows that these are the skills that she needs to have within her to move forward in her life. Say hello to that bad guy. Hey, I'm not that little. Hello. We're not bad. We're just written that way.
He is not a social worker at all, but that's his undercover that he is gradually learning that he is undercover, so it's a little tricky for him. And he forgets at times that he has a dual role here in order to achieve his goals. But he is a top drawer operative, security, and he always gets his person, man or woman or thing.
I think what's fun for me personally is to play someone villainous or a creature that's villainous. I don't think I've really done any of that, and it's kind of fun just to act with your menacing face. And Jumba, to me in the animated thing, he was not almost... This one I think is more villainous to me, because he takes the human form. I think he's going to maybe be seen as a little bit more villainous.
Going back to the film, the animation, seeing that again reminded me of how much I loved this script and how my character sort of expands on Ohana. It's not just the family, it's now the extended family, and I'm part of that extended family. I'm not blood related to them. I live next door. I knew the parents. I knew the kids since they were little, and I just feel so close to them, and it just is, of course, a natural progression to feel like I want to take care of them, and also be a little nosy about things, because isn't that what family is?
Coming back in, I'm always nervous about the endurance of my voice during recording sessions. Typically after about 2 hours, his voice begins to just dip off a little bit. It's not the easiest thing to sustain. Our sessions on this film have been about 4 hours apiece. And one of the things I think I've developed more stamina because of my recording sessions. That was my main thing. I like Obviously, I like the characters, I like the setting. And so anytime I can be in the proximity of the property, it's just really fun.
Ooh, ah, blah, 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 blah. Ooh, Lilo. Ooh, ah.
In the new live version, you're going to be finding some new characters like myself, a role that you've never seen before, which will be great because the people that have seen the original animated feature 15 times with their kids or when they were kids will be heartened to see somebody like me that was in the original in a different capacity, but I'm playing a totally different role. Jason Scott Lee, I don't know if I can say that, but he's got a super little Easter egg in here. You'll recognize some of the places, like the house that was built is so perfectly on point with what you imagine from the cartoon. And the surf scenes, all very, very familiar, but brought into, the practical world. So there's going to be a lot of nostalgia and remembrances of the original, but also with a nod towards where we are today.
It's a huge, I think, moment for people to feel like no matter where they are, they can feel accepted and find a place of home. And I think that they'll cry, they'll laugh their heads off, they'll look at how wacky and fun this project was and see how much heart and soul and work that everybody has put into this to make such a beautiful piece of art.
I think we now more than ever need a story about being there for your family, no matter what that looks like, whether it's big, whether it's small, broken, but still good. I hope that people can, watch this movie and be inspired in that way, because truly these characters inspire me, to want to be a better brother, to want to be a better father eventually, and that's Ohana is not necessarily just your family. It's also who you choose to call your family.
It is that sort of perfect age of nostalgia for parents and even maybe that generation a hair under parents who grew up on this film, who want to revisit it, but want to see it sort of taken seriously. And I think that was a big thing for Dean. He wants to make a movie that, this is not a quote unquote kids movie. This is a movie that is for adults. Again, we're dealing with real issues. We're dealing with this social service and the economic disparity and all these challenges thrown at these two sisters. All that's going to feel very real, and then the movie's going to be hilarious as well, and beautiful and lush here in Hawaii, and these incredible VFX and this iconic character at the center of it. But we really talk about it's a movie for everyone. So you can capture sort of that older audience who has the nostalgia for this title, and I think really reintroduce it to a younger generation. And granted, there's parents like myself who have sort of shown their kids the movie, but kids always want something new. They want something that they feel like they can own, and this can sort of be their version of Lilo and Stitch for years and years to come.
I think that multiple generations of Disney fans are going to love our movie. I really hope that we've delivered on the promise of what a live-action Lilo and Stitch film could be. I know, I am excited by that prospect, and I would have been if I wasn't involved in this. And I hope that I hope that people are really jumping for joy at it. I think we did it. I think we did it.